637, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on in to a Thursday, May 2nd. Along with Johnny B, Ken Weaver, want to welcome on into the program Senator Bill Hagerty joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Senator, always great to have you on. First of all, news of the day. We do see the police, they're breaking down the UCLA encampment. We've been talking about this all morning and certainly the last couple of days. I don't know if you've commented about all of this on our particular show or not, but I mean, just do you have any comment on the insanity going on right now on college campuses?
Well, Dan, I think you choose a very appropriate word, and it is insanity. I think what we see, and this has happened in every presidential election year since 2012, we had, Occupy Wall Street, then we had the BLM riots. Now we've got this going on. But the left just goes into, a chaos moment every time there's a presidential election, and they try to find some way to protest, to divide Americans, to find ways to motivate the most radical members of their electorate, to get them engaged, to get them involved, so they can then use those people to get out and vote. I think this is basically, the kids don't even know what they're protesting about. If you think about it, who in the world would really be in favor of genocide and basically the Nazism that they're proposing? I think they're just, collecting a bunch of useful fools, as they say, to try to get them ready to get out the vote in November.
Let me ask you, 638 on Nashville's Morning News. A question was asked from Fox News to Corinne Jean-Pierre yesterday. And the question was, is there any interest in finding out who is funding all of this? Is there anything that, from the Senate side, from the House side, is there anything that Congress can do to track down who it is that is funding this chaos in America?
Well, I'm working on that right now, Dan, in terms of getting foreign adversaries out of the election process here in America, to keep them from funding and remove their ability from funding these sorts of activities. We have people like George Soros, who has become an American citizen. A guy named Hans-Georg Wyss. Hans-Georg Wyss is a Swiss citizen who has dedicated his fortune, billionaire. Sounds like a Bond villain, doesn't it, Dan?
Yeah.
But this guy is dedicating his millions of dollars to trying to change American politics toward the progressive. Why in the world will we allow these foreigners to come in and try to shift American politics? Why will we allow them to come in and try to move the dial here in America? And why in the world are we allowing them to come in here and try to shift away from the Constitution, what it actually says, to something that they want it to be? But these foreigners, or these people like George Soros, are coming in and trying to move the electorate in their own direction. It's working. If you're a fellow of George Soros's group, I think it's a $3,800 stipend that you're paid as a student to go out and protest and do exactly the kind of thing that they're talking about. If you are willing to try to remove Israel from its homeland, and if you're willing to try to support the Palestinians, then you're going to get paid to do that. It's unbelievable that this is going on. I would suspect that if someone were to go and dig into who's camping out on these college campuses, you'd find out that most of them are being paid by Soros, Hans-Georg Wyss, people like this.
Yeah, and the New York Post has reported as such, and you also have other outlets as well. The president, a couple of days ago, it's being reported that, I think it's CBS News that reported this originally, it's all over the place now, that the president is considering bringing in some of these refugees from Gaza. And he's got $3.5 billion in refugee resettlement funds in the foreign aid bill. Suddenly here now that he is considering bringing in these Palestinian refugees, and as you know, Senator, very anti-American sentiment out there. And so is this something that you can, have you heard anything about this, and can it be stopped?
I certainly heard about it. I mean, I voted against it, Dan. This was the massive foreign aid packages that I voted against. The Biden administration put this thing together in the dark of night, working with Chuck Schumer, crammed it down the throats of the Senate. It is certainly not something that we would ever support if we had control of the Senate. But here we are again. Joe Biden bringing in people that hate America, Joe Biden bringing in people that will make our nation much less secure, another national security risk that he is presenting to our country, and he just seems to not care. It's beyond my comprehension how you would do something like this, but this is precisely where they're going. His concern is nothing but the November elections, and if anything can happen that will help him in Michigan and Minnesota, where he's got a very strong pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel contingency that would perhaps help him win the presidency, he's going to do whatever he can to appease them. He doesn't care about what's right and wrong. He cares about winning. And that is just so anti-American in terms of the danger that it presents to America, and also to the fact that it is supporting the condemnation of Israel.
It'll be interesting because I think most folks do understand that a lot of the people there from Gaza are with Hamas and saw the October 7th attacks as some sort of a victory. And so it's my hope that if he does this, this will backfire immensely on the president. On to other things. Second Amendment. Senator Bill Hagerty is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Sir, you have filed legislation to protect American Second Amendment rights. And you describe what the president is trying to do as Operation Choke Point. Biden has been trying to restrict firearms manufacturers from getting that license to export their products for sale. It also applies to ammo and component manufacturers as well. It sounds like an end around to curb gun sales. Talk a little bit about what the president is doing specifically and what you're doing to stop it.
Dan, thank you for raising this for our listeners today, because I think most people don't know what the Biden administration is up to. They are waging war on American industry, and they're basically trying to end run the legislative process, if this makes sense. If there were were actually laws in place to remove our Second Amendment rights, then that would be the will of the people. That is not the will of the people. We don't have those types of laws. The American public does not support removing the Second Amendment. But here we have the Biden administration using the administrative state to come in and use the regulatory process to choke off the livelihood of those people that are engaged in the manufacture of firearms. We have Tennessee companies who are exporting their products to other countries. This is a major part of their revenues, and what Joe Biden has done is forced them to leave those exports at the dock. They have orders that are signed and ready to be paid for, and now they can't deliver those orders. That means they're going to have to fire people. They may have to go out of business. The Biden administration is actively trying to destroy the firearms manufacturing business in America. We have a lot of people employed in Tennessee who are in the whole supply chain of supporting firearms manufacturing. I was the one that recruited Beretta to come to Tennessee. Beretta is a shotgun manufacturer. They make beautiful products. We have other manufacturers. We have Smith & Wesson. We have Barrett. We have other firearm manufacturers in Tennessee that employ a large number of Tennesseans. This is Joe Biden's effort to take their jobs away, destroy the industry, because this particular administration disfavors anyone that is in the business of firearms manufacturing. It's Operation Choke Point 2.0.
All right, Senator, there's a lot to talk about. Always appreciate you being on with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and keep us updated on all of those stories from your vantage point in Washington, D.C. Have a great Thursday, have a great Friday, and have a great weekend as well. 6:45 on Nashville's Morning News. Time to check the roads on Super Talk.